fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
Okay, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. We are getting you guys our picks early for UFC 285. What's going on, Carson?
Oh, what's going on? I'm looking forward to this card. It's probably one of the best cards of the year.
Right on. If you guys will, please drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment early, and hope you guys enjoy this video. First fight, we got Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones. We're picking Trevin Jones here. So like watching film for this fight, I have a bunch of notes here for Trevin Jones. He really struggles with speed, I've noticed, which Cody Garbrandt has, but I think actually a lot of it stems from feinting and that fighters that can make him flinch, and he's a counter puncher, so if he doesn't have the timing on when you're coming in and out of range, it's really hard for him to get those punches off. And I think that really plays, that idea really plays into his last fights. I mean, Barcelos, tons of feints, but also very fast. Basharat, tons of feints, also very fast. And then Kakramanov, that was a grappling fight, but Mario Batista wasn't feinting that much, and then he had that shovel uppercut, just put him out. And then Timur Valiev was putting a pace on him, beating up Jones until he had a counterpunch. And Cody Garbrandt does not have any feints, no head movement, no chin. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevin Jones's power. He's got a nice right hook and a good left. Southpaw fighter, and I just see Trevin Jones catching Garbrandt sometime in this fight. And Garbrandt, like you said, no chin, hard to back a fighter who can't really take a punch. So,
right.
Trevin Jones by knockout.
Like 13-9 as a record doesn't look that great, but if you factor in like the last 5 opponents he's had, these are all very legit opponents that he's had. I mean, combine the records of Valiev all the way through these guys, and there's about 8 losses or whatever on that record. It's not very high. I will say Trevin Jones does get hurt in fights pretty often. And yeah, but like Cody, at this point in your career, you're kind of just trying not to get knocked out. And I think you see that in a lot of his fights. Rob Font just jabbed him up at range. Kai Kara France, he looked like he was just waiting for the big shots to come, and then they hit him and it was over.
Yeah, Jones has never been knocked out before, too, which if Garbrandt was to win, I think it would be by that method. But like you said, Jones does get hurt, but he's never been knocked out before.
Right, he shells pretty well even when he's injured. And he might want to go in those 50-50s with Garbrandt because that's how he's losing fights. And I've noticed a lot with Cody, he dips his hips a lot before he throws punches. And that's kind of the signal for the counterpunch. And because he loves to load up and then throw all those hooks. He doesn't really throw jabs. So interesting fight. You know, I hope Cody Garbrandt has some success here. But I just don't see it here. I think that this is a kind of a curse right now. And I think round 2 KO is what I'm looking at for Trevin Jones. Okay. Trevin Jones KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Ian Garry versus Kenan Song. Picking Ian Garry, got to. He's a big favorite here. Gary's footwork's just going to be too much for Song here. Song is a very big guy. He does have that power. He does have a decent jab and a good straight right hand. But this guy slows down after a round, and he's very prone to leg kicks. He's on a huge layoff and has actually like layoffs between a lot of his fights. Not very consistent. I think he cuts a lot of weight, and I just like Ian Garry to get a knockout after the first round, right into round 2 somewhere. What are your thoughts?
Yep, I'm going with Ian Garry, obviously. He just had a kid, so that's why he's been out for a little bit. Ian Garry, that is. Like to see him get a finish here in this fight. I think this is a good matchup for him. Song was knocked out in his last fight against Griffin. I think Song threw like a lazy kick, and think Griffin just hit him with like a 1-2 and put him out.
And he was out bad too on the ground.
Yeah, he was out cold. I think Ian Garry gets a finish in this fight to boost that status.
Yeah, what I also really like about Ian Garry's game, and I think it really showed in that Gabe Green fight, is he kind of does really similar to Sean O'Malley or someone like Dominic Cruz. He's really hard to trap and by the cage. He's got great lateral movement, and if Son can't trap him in the corner, it's just going to be Garry picking him apart at range until this fight's over. And I think that Jordan Williams fight on his UFC debut, he got punched a couple times, didn't look that great. I also think that he was adjusting to someone just blitzing him over and over again, and he's gotten better at that. So, yeah. Ian Garry, KO, round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Mana Martinez versus Cameron Saaiman. Picking Cameron Saaiman in this one, but I will say he's a little bit too heavy of a favorite currently, I think. I think he's at minus 250. For a step up of a guy who's pretty tough. I don't think Mana Martinez is the best fighter, but he does have some pretty decent attributes. He actually has really surprising power, and I think his punches have quite a sting on them. You can see that. He knocked out Jose Johnson, almost knocked out, Ronnie Lawrence, and he can get up from his back when he's taken down at times, and you saw that in the Ronnie Lawrence fight. But he also is easy as hell to take down. He's very tough. I always like to say this: people with big heads usually have pretty good chins, and Mana Martinez has a big ass head. But yeah, Saaiman, I like his stand up in and out of range, similar to the Basharat brothers. He's got good grappling. I think he could get him to the ground, and I can see this one going to decision, and I think it will go to decision. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the decision part. I think Manny Martinez, he's never been knocked out before. He's been choked out once in the Contender Series, but his last three UFC fights all go into decision, and his 2 wins were both by split decision. So he's fighting these guys really close. I think Saaiman can pull off a close decision here.
Right, and if he gets those takedowns, that's going to swing rounds his way. And, we were talking about this earlier. Mana Martinez does that weird thing with his hands where he's always moving his hands, kind of acting strange. Well, it doesn't actually do anything for him, and I think that sometimes that stuff's just like wasted energy. I will say Cameron Saaiman had some questionable fight IQ moments in his UFC debut. Had the times where he was on the back and then he got slid over the top, and those
he lose positions.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part of his game in his first fight. But I hope that he recovers from those mistakes and turns that around here.
And his last 2 fights were both 3rd round finishes, which you like to see.
Good gas.
Keeping a good gas tank, yeah.
Especially with opponent like Mana Martinez, who almost finished Lawrence in the 3rd round. So
right,
yeah. All right. Well, Cameron Saaiman by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Derek Brunson versus Dricus du Plessis. Picking du Plessis here. Darren Brunson, I've just never been super high on him as a fighter. He's getting really old. He's 39 right now. I don't know if I want to call him a quitter as much as he just kind of gets gassed in fights and gets sloppy, and it looks like he kind of looks for a way out. I don't want to accuse anyone of being a quitter, but Derek Brunson's resurgence also kind of came against non-wrestlers. The Darren Till fight, Darren Till looked awful with the takedown defense. Kevin Holland just wrestled him the whole time, wrestled Shabazian. Heinisch is a little bit better in that stuff, but Brunson could take care of that on the feet as well. And then the Jared Cannonier fight where he just shoots relentless takedowns until he gets exhausted and finished. du Plessis, we've talked about this a million times. Like, this dude looks exhausted in fights, and then he fights through the exhaustion and, like, hurts his opponents super bad. And that's the Brad Tavares fight. I think that he fights better when he's tired. He's got a ton of power. He's going to be really hard to hold down for Derek Brunson. He also has very good jiu-jitsu, and I just like him to win this fight by knockout.
Yeah, I think the ground game, I think that'll even each other out, and then du Plessis on the feet, I think he's way better than Brunson there. So I do like du Plessis to find a knockout here. He's shown a good gas tanks in his previous fights too, even though he's looking dead tired. He clearly won the third round against Tavares and then third round finish against Darren Till in his last fight. So
right.
Even though he looks like he's gassed or whatever, however he does it, it's working.
He recovers
and
too.
He's staying active too, which we like to see. Him just fighting Till 3 months ago, and he's already back in there again.
Right, and Derek Brunson will probably get to a point where I think he gets desperate for takedowns. He may hold down du Plessis the whole first round, but that's going to have a toll on him. I think that du Plessis got better hips than most people that Brunson's probably faced up to this point and will be able to get up. And Brunson really can't fight going backwards that well. And du Plessis is a guy who blitzes across the cage and does those long punches. Not that that's a great technique, but against someone who can't really fight backwards and counter in Derek Brunson, I think he's going to put him out. So, exactly, I think that du Plessis is going to be all over this fight after the first round. I think maybe in a live bet on du Plessis would be pretty good. But
10-year age difference in this fight, too, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, Derek Brunson doesn't look that old, but I guess he is.
Right.
All right, du Plessis, knockout round 2. Also, this fight probably should not be in the prelims. It'll probably get pushed up. Okay, for the next fight, we have Julian Marquez versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I am picking Julian Marquez. I think that in this fight, he's the more dangerous, damaging fighter. Marc-Andre's really never, if you watch all of his fights, he's never been known, I think, as a guy who's just putting it on people. And Julian Marquez, on the other hand, not the most technically gifted fighter, but does hunt for goes for finishes and uses body work, kicks, grappling. He's not the best wrestler grappler and can give up positions. You kind of saw some of that probably in the I believe it was the Maki Patolo fight. But I do think that Julian Marquez will win this fight by a knockout. He's just got a pressure factor to him. I feel like Marc-Andre Barriault misses the target sometimes. Again, doesn't do the most damage. He does have a decent high guard, but I think Marquez on a pay-per-view, he's going to want this finish. So I like him by a knockout later in the fight.
Yeah, with the crowd going crazy, he's going to be pushing that pressure and hopefully finding a finish. And Marc-Andre Barriault, when he fought Delcha, Delcha's been finished. When he's lost, he's been finished in all of his fights except for Marc-Andre Barriault, which is kind of crazy to think about. He's been knocked out or finished 3 fights in a row, but Marc Barriault didn't finish him in that fight.
I'd say,
and I think Marquez taken a little time off. It's 8 months since his brutal knockout against Rodriguez. I think that'll pay dividends for him, and hopefully he's recovered enough.
If you're on Barriault too, you probably think he's going to win a decision. If that's your bet, that's the best bet. Him to win by split decision or decision. Probably the best way he's going to get it done here. And like you said, even when I watched that Delcha fight, a lot of it was clinching up against the fence, and then he tried to do punches going into the clinch and was missing them. So I haven't been impressed with a lot of what he was doing. Anthony Hernandez is a very good wrestler, but he also got ragdolled the entire time. Kind of expected him maybe to defend some takedowns, but not really. But this is a very hit-or-miss fight. Surprisingly, one of the lower ones. It'd probably be a good one in this last Aaron Blanchfield card, but not on this pay-per-view. Probably not as good. I'm going to take Julian Marquez by a round 3 knockout. Okay, for the next fight, we have Viviane Araujo versus Amanda Ribas. Picking Viviane here. I think she's got the sharper boxing, and I think that's where this fight is going to really count. Ribas, she's kind of open to getting hit. She's been finished before. She's very herky-jerky on the feet, and I don't know. I just don't know if she can outbox Viviane here, but this is going to be a very close fight. I might bet the split decision on this, and that's why I have Viviane by decision. Ribas, she's got very good takedown defense, and I think that's going to be an interesting component to this fight because Viviane loves to take girls down and grab control time there. You've seen in the Andrea Lee fight. She also bodied up Montana De La Rosa a while ago with some of that. But Ribas is 88% takedown defense. She's got nice judo throws. But she's just uncoordinated, I think, a little bit in her striking. I see a stand-up fight here. I see the better boxer, and I see Viviane winning here.
Yep, probably going to decision. I'm sure that line's going to be killed. But like you said, if you're into that betting split decision, I mean, how are the judges going to see the anti-grappling or the striking in this fight? So could be a split decision here.
Yeah, women's fights they have a really hard time scoring the striking. They don't know who's connecting a lot of the times as well. Yeah, split decision for Viviane here. Okay, for the next fight, we have Farid Basharat versus Damon Blackshear. Taking the man, the beast, Farid Basharat here. His brother and him are just awesome. And he has that same exact style, pretty much as his brother. In and out of range. Nice little straight punches and very good striking defense. And I like all those components. Damon Blackshear just came off of his fight against Youssef Zalal, where Youssef Zalal took him down multiple times when Zalal was the clear better striker. It is very confusing to watch that fight. And also Zalal had him in some bad positions where he fell off the back and I don't know, some goofy things were going on there. I really feel like Farid's going to get a knockout in this fight. If you watch the third round of Damon Blackshear versus Youssef Zalal, he kind of got gassed out, wasn't getting his takedowns, and Zalal was just piecing him up and then almost got the finish and the fight went to a draw. I feel like this is me stand up, and then whenever Farid wants, he'll take him down and then find a knockout. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Farid will find success on the feet, maybe mix in the grappling, just have that as an option, but I do think Farid will get a finish in this fight. I don't think Blackshear's been knocked out before.
No.
But yeah, I do think Farid will find the finisher. It's also nice seeing two brothers like Basharat and then the Bonfim brothers coming in to the UFC and
killing it.
Yeah. So hopefully both those, all four of those guys can find some more success.
And Farid Basharat doesn't fuck around on the ground. If you watch his Contender Series fight, he's got the dude on his back and he's beating the shit out of him in round 3. He's like proving a point. Doesn't like waste time. He also takes the back very well off his takedowns. He's got great hips on the ground. I mean, this guy, and also what I really like about this is he trains with his brother. And they're both 135. So like, you know, iron sharpens iron. I also watched a fight with Farid where he choked out a guy. The dude's unconscious. He let go of the choke. The dude woke up and he just choked him out again. That was pretty hilarious. So, if not a KO, it's probably a submission. And yeah, but for right now, Farid Basharat KO round 2. Okay, in the next fight, we have Jessica Penne versus Carson's future wife, Tabatha Ricci. In this matchup, we're taking Tabatha Ricci by decision. Feels very straightforward. You just saw Jessica Penne get beat by Emily Dakota pretty easily, kicked the shit out of her legs, and didn't really have a counter for anything. And then if you just saw Emily Dakota get messed up by Angela Hill, I feel like Tabatha Ricci here if it's going to the ground, she's me in top position, and that was kind of how the Viviane fight went. And I see her just controlling this fight, whether it's stand-up, whether it's on the ground, and riding this to a decision.
Yep, I like Tabatha wherever this fight goes. Penne, 40 years old now, on her way out, you could say. And like you said, in her last fight against Cody, she didn't have any adjustments made. Like her lead leg was getting destroyed, and she refused to change anything about it. So
for 3 rounds, too.
Didn't make any adjustments. I think Tabatha Ricci will take advantage of that and win a decision here.
Not to mention how fast Ricci is. She's way quicker, and I think way more muscular, too, than what Penne is at this point. So, yep. Tabatha Ricci by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalin Turner. I'm taking Mateusz Gamrot in this matchup. I think the wrestling's going to be too much, and I think this fight will probably piss off a lot of people because Jalin Turner's on this resurgence of violence, being a really big guy for the division with a lot of power, and Gamrot's just not the guy who does a lot of damage. And that wrestling, though, it's a different level, and I think especially at the degree that he's doing it with other high-level wrestlers, Dariush was able to counter a lot of it, but I don't think Turner's prepared for that type of wrestling, especially at that height. I think that Gamrot could get him down pretty easily. If you've watched the Matt Frevola-Jalin Turner fight, Matt Frevola took him down a lot, but at the same time, credit to Jalin Turner, he had a lot of damage on Matt Frevola in that fight after getting up from a takedown from other positions. And, I mean, Jalin Turner has ridiculous power at range, and you just never know if he has that factor where he can just put someone out.
Yeah, this is a short notice fight for him. Turner was originally scheduled to fight Hooker, but he broke his hand, so it's definitely a different style matchup than he was prepared for. I think Gamrot will just be too relentless with his wrestling, and I mean Jalin Turner in a lot of those fights, especially the Frevola one, he pulled guillotines all the time.
Yep.
And I just think Gamrot's not going to get stuck in one of those, and he'll just ride out the good position there.
Right, and I hate to judge the Jalin Turner-Matt Frevola fight too much because it was 4 years ago, but that grappling level, it's going to be hard to still increase yourself by that much as a lifelong grappler for Gamrot. And some things I don't like about Gamrot, like I said, he doesn't do a lot of damage, and he gets desperate for takedowns, similar to Derek Brunson. Like, when he feels nervous on the feet, he just shoots a takedown. And that's a time where you could maybe sense out Jalin Turner seeing a knee, something up the middle. I do still think, though, Gamrot finds a submission. You watch his takedowns, if Jalin Turner even gets the sprawl, there's a moment, in the Matt Frevola fight, where Jalin Turner had a perfect sprawl on Matt Frevola. Frevola worked his way to a single leg and flipped him over and put him on his back. And I think Gamrot can swing to the back, find a submission from there. His Kimura against Jeremy Stevens was pretty nasty, and Turner's going to have to give up something to get up, and I think that'll lead to a submission. And I'm just going to take it in round 1, I think, when they're dry. Anything else here?
No, you nailed it.
All right, Mateusz Gamrot, submission, round 1. Okay, we have the return. We have Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Taking Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I think this is going to be his toughest test yet. And there are some things that concern me about a fight like this. One of them being that, similar to Khamzat Chimaev, Shavkat's really never been the guy who's been down in a fight for even a second before. He's been the guy dictating the position, whether on the feet or on the ground, and usually outstriking his opponent. And I think Jeff Neal could actually pose some threats on the feet and hurt him with that left hand, which is a piston. But I still do like Shavkat here to find a submission, and I think his clinch will be better than Jeff Neal's.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Neal, he had a pretty good fight against Muhammad 2019, and then I guess against Neil Magny in 2021. That was a lot of Magny's clinch against the cage, working in there. I just think Shavkat's going to be too strong, and he'll be able to get Neal down at some point and find a submission. I do think, yeah, definitely. I do think this is his toughest test, but I do think he gets through this test and moves up the ranking.
Right. And I mean, if you watch that Neil Magny fight, there's a lot of moments where Jeff Neal and him are up against the fence, and the only times that really Jeff Neal did get taken down, it was down to a knee, and he presented his back. And I just don't think you can do that with Shavkat, because Neil Magny's never been really the guy to, like, take back position. He kind of he just wears his weight on top of you and wins that way. Shavkat, though, he's extremely patient on the feet. He's got crazy good top control, like surprising strength everywhere he fights. I don't know what he's going to look like if this fight goes to like a third round. That's kind of like a nervous thing because Jeff Neal's in pretty high-paced fights. He's got crazy good spinning kicks, but I think that Jeff Neal's high guard can actually deflect a lot of those, so maybe Shavkat will go to the body more with those spinning kicks. I don't think he has the fastest hands. I think Jeff Neal has the faster hands here in the stand-up. But like we said, this is me going to clinch positions. And Jeff Neal slows down a little bit. I'm not going to say he gasses out. He slows down slightly in rounds 2 and 3. And if they're going to be grapple-heavy in this fight, that's going to play a role. And I think Shavkat will get the advantage there. I like Shavkat for a submission in round 1. What are your thoughts?
Cool with me. Definitely submission from my part.
All right, Shavkat, submission, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Jamie Pickett versus Bo Nickel. And we're taking Jamie Pickett. Just kidding, we're taking Bo Nickel. Jamie Pickett... Gotcha. Jamie Pickett isn't ready for this. He kind of has that big frame like Jon Jones honestly does. He's pretty tall and has a huge reach. Not that great of a fighter, though. Can't string the things together. Can't wrestle to this level with Bo Nickel. And this is gonna be a fucking disaster. I think this is gonna be a quick submission for Bo Nickel. If you watch that Contender Series fight, he does a great job of throwing that overhand, and if it lands, it can really hurt somebody. And if it doesn't, he can just switch right to the takedown. So he's got way more options, way more skill, and this should be a pretty easy fight.
Yep, should be a good debut fight for Bo Nickel. I think he'll mess around on the feet for about 30 seconds and then take him down and find a submission in the next 30 seconds to a minute. So I like him to win by submission in the first round.
I think I haven't seen enough of Bo Nickel's stand-up, but if he wanted to, he could strike with Jamie Pickett because he's not that great of a striker, and I don't think he does it, but because you probably on your UFC debut want a big finish, increase your hype, that type of stuff on a pay-per-view. So yeah, submission or knockout. His transition too on that Contender Series fight to that triangle was fucking nasty. Like just full mount. Put it in, instantly cinched it up, and the guy was instantly tapping. So, yeah. Bo Nickel by submission, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have the title fight at 125 in the women's division. We have Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. We're taking Valentina Shevchenko. I think minus 600 is a lot for this fight to pay, but I think she wins this by decision. I've already bet the over 4.5. I think that Alexa Grasso can stand with her on the feet. Valentina's very dangerous, but she's also very dangerous to fighters who have no business being in a title fight. Like Lauren Murphy had no business being in a title fight, and she got fucked up. Jessica Andrade took her down, did very well on the ground. Still a tough girl. Caitlin Chukadian made it look easy. And then another one I was in the back of my head, obviously Jessica Ide getting the head kick. But other tougher fighters, Jennifer Maia, Talia Santos, they can go to decision with Valentina. I don't think Valentina can trap Alexa Grasso on the ground and just ground and pound her to a finish. I think Alexa Grasso's ground game's better than that. And I see a striking fight. I see Valentina using more kicks at range, and I see her winning a decision from that.
Yep, I do like everything you said there. I do like the decision. I mean, I think they're just trying to get Valentina, get her one more win, and then probably fight Amanda Nunes. I don't know.
Last time.
Your thoughts? Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but if those two are being so dominant, I think that's what they're planning on doing.
I don't think that can happen currently, just the way things are lined up. Like with Talia Santos, that questionable decision, and then Erin Blanchfield, they want to get her a title shot, I'm assuming, after this. Alexa Grasso, though, I do think that this is a way better title fight than people expect. It's not going to be fireworks, per se, because they'll probably point fight each other. But for technical women's fighters, I think these two are pretty good representatives for 125. But yeah, I got nothing else other than Valentina by decision and betting that over 4.5.
Yeah, Grasso's only been finished one time against Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah, a higher level grappler in my opinion than
right.
Valentina. And the times that she was grappled against Viviane, she defended the takedown, so I liked it there. Okay, Shevchenko by decision. Okay, for the main event, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. We appreciate your guys' support. We'll have those bets on Thursday for this card for UFC 285. And here we go, Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. We're picking Ciryl Gane. I'm just not entirely convinced Jon Jones is, I want to say not ready for, because he's definitely the light heavyweight GOAT. But this is a different division, a different strength, and this is a guy, in my opinion, who kind of struggled in his career with people with long reaches, similar heights to him. He struggled in fights like that, at range, point fighting. Dominic Reyes, Alexander Gustafsson, and then not even with Thiago Santos. I mean, he hasn't looked impressive in his 2 wins 3 years ago that weren't very convincing. I'm not entirely convinced how this fight will play out, but I think Ciryl Gane has the striking to win a decision here.
Yep, there's a lot of unknowns in this fight. How will Ciryl Gane, or if Jones wants to go for the takedowns, how will Ciryl Gane defend those? How heavy will Jon Jones be? How will he be moving up to heavyweight? How will he take the punches at heavyweight against Ciryl Gane? I mean, Ciryl Gane's not a huge KO guy, but I mean, he still hits hard.
Right.
Still heavyweight.
And
there's just so many unknowns in this fight.
Yeah, I don't feel like betting this other than over 4.5. That's the only thing I really like about this, but it looks like that's getting kind of blown up, so I'm sort of walking away from it. When rewatching Ciryl Gane versus Ngannou, you know, I see so many errors that he made in his takedown defense and in his grappling that I think he could easily change in this fight. If you watched it, he was using Kimuras at times on the fence to try to break grip and prevent takedowns, and he couldn't break Ngannou's grip, and it was the easiest takedown. He's got to put underhooks in, and he's going to be able to stop those, and I think at his strength, at his size, Jones is going to have a really hard time holding him down. If you watch the Ngannou fight, Gane gets up also. He gets up multiple times, but then makes tactical errors. He stayed up on the fence and stayed in the clinch with Ngannou, pretty much lost the round just from staying in the clinch and then getting taken down again. He did a heel hook at the worst time, one of the worst title fight decisions we've seen, maybe in the past 5 years. But yeah, he's got to hold underhooks. He also took down Ngannou one time and then fished for a heel hook the first time around and gave up position. He's just got to keep this fight on the feet at range, and I think he beats Jon Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jones will be doing that, like knee kick, oblique kick. I don't know what the exact they call it.
I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, I think he'll be trying that and then trying to shoot a double leg takedown. I don't know, man. I think if it goes to a decision, which I think it will, like, how are the judges going to be judging this just based off what we know from Jones's last 2 fights? I mean, we don't know how that was scored.
Yeah, the judges aren't really reliable from the Reyes fight, the Santos fight, or the Gustafsson fight with him, 10 years prior. And then we also discussed this before, but like, if Jon Jones gets a takedown and there's like really close striking in a round, they're gonna give the round to Jones. So like, that's a scare if you're betting on Gane. I do think that Jon gets away with a lot of things because he's so lengthy with his leg reach and arms. He's fought a lot of former middleweights that are very great, but that's a hard weight change for a lot of those guys to come up, and then he fights some guys who are his actual natural size and struggles a little bit more. He does have great defense, and he has very good variability in his striking, but I think Gane's the better striker. He's fought guys who are also very big. He's very light on his feet, has tremendous kicks to the body, whether it's a teep kick, whether it's a body kick. And I just think that Gane shouldn't try to do any head kicks in this fight. Keep your legs below the waist where Jones can't really, or not below the waist, below the chest, so Jones can't really grab your leg. And this is a very interesting title fight. I can see why Jon Jones is the favorite. But like you said, so many unknowns, 3 years off, questionable decisions, questionable fight IQ for Ciryl Gane. I think I'm just going to watch it as a fan and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely on you there. Also, how will Jon Jones' cardio hold up being heavier in this heavyweight weight class? I mean,
right.
Carrying an extra, 20 pounds maybe. I don't know what he would walk around at 205, but you got to think that's got to be a little different for him carrying that extra weight.
Yeah, I would assume that Jones's walking around weight at 205 would be 230, so I would probably add 15 more pounds to that, say 245. I do think Gane will look bigger still in the fight. He's pretty bulky legs and torso.
He's thick.
Yeah,
thick.
And he's also very athletic. I mean, he's just way looser, and I think that he get the better jab. Maybe not the best rear hand, but he does have a better jab in my opinion, better kicks. And that's all I got here. You got anything else?
Looking forward to it, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, we got a string of huge title fights for this spring. So, again, guys, like, sub, comment. Bet's video later this week, or later next week. And good luck this weekend, next weekend, every weekend. And peace.
Peace.
I know. It doesn't matter. I'm from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now.